like, I just want to come up with this like really outlandish story about like why I'm in Denver. And then I'm like, oh, I had to get my 3-year-old pot. And they're like, ah ha ha. I'm like, oh no, that's my story.
Brian and Megan Wilson moved their family 1,700 miles from Scotch Plains, New Jersey to Denver, Colorado, in order to get the medicine needed to treat their youngest daughter's seizures.
Here you are.
3-year-old Vivian Wilson suffers from Dravet syndrome, an aggressive and potentially deadly form of epilepsy, which her parents have found responds best to oils made from THC and CBD, chemicals extracted from the cannabis plant. Vivian was enrolled in New Jersey's medical marijuana program back home, but the Wilsons found the laws too restrictive and bureaucratic to allow them the freedom to experiment with their treatment. Brian buys from a dispensary one oil called Charlotte's Web, which is high in CBD, a non-psychoactive chemical in cannabis. He makes another oil himself, which is higher in THC from marijuana he buys at River Rock Organic Medical Cannabis in Denver.
It wasn't about just getting access to the Charlotte's Web. It was getting to a state that has a real program that's not going to tie our hands. Hello, how you doing? Yep. Until you're actually in it, though, you don't realize the tremendous freedoms that it allows. So it's an extremely different world than the New Jersey program in every way possible. You know, even when we talk to our neighbors and we're introducing ourselves and why we were out here, they're like, oh yeah, that's that stuff like on the TV we saw. Yeah, is that working well for her? And nobody's like, you're doing what?
For Brian Wilson, making medicine from cannabis is a 3-day process. The final step is reducing the mixture to an oil by evaporating the grain alcohol.
And I kind of think this is one of the first medicines that instead of going through FDA to find out how it's useful, it's going to be crowdsourced by the hundreds of thousands of people who are using it, the parents, the adult patients. There's no reason to try to fit it into the old model. It's almost like the government and the FDA are trying to go down the same route as the record companies when MP3s came out. They're failing to see that there's a change in some of the way some of these things are done. And fortunately, the people aren't having it. I'm making her medicine. This is her life in a way, you know.
Yay, medicine!
You know, doctors especially, they say we don't know the long-term effects of THC on a growing brain. And to talk about the effect of THC when she's having seizures all day, I mean, there's just, you can't compare them.
What? Wheels on the bus? What? I don't know what you're saying.
This was all about quality of life for Vivian. We don't know how long she's going to live, but I want her to have the best life possible. So again, like, I can't worry about if this is the difference between like Algebra 1 or calculus, you know, like this is the difference of like Vivian being able to go to the park for 5 minutes. Not too excited, Vivi. We're trying to make her life better, and her life is better.
In the Rocky Mountains near Colorado Springs, Realm of Caring grows the marijuana plants that they use to make Charlotte's Web, an oil high in CBD which has been shown to help patients like Vivian.
This is our second season of pure outdoor plants on this hillside right here. And at almost 9,000 feet, these plants do tremendous. They love it. Because the THC-CBD combo, many parents are finding this out, the THC plays a real critical role in helping their child overcome whatever ailment they're facing. That's why research is absolutely important right now for us to know why this plant's doing what it's doing. I mean, we don't know. We're learning. It's all really the, you know, it's the evidence that the world is giving us, the anecdotal evidence that we're finding all the time. That's what's driving the research. Charlotte's Web is here. It's being tested for a number of things, but it's what we've seen a major success is in epilepsy. And the most pronounced stories are, of course, Charlotte Figi, Zakai Jackson, who really paved the way for a lot of the other children that are coming to Colorado.
The things that were triggers for her just really aren't triggers anymore. So I think it kind of goes back to like how the THC helps her so much with like her visual issues. Like her brain is just a little calmer. Just one of the many wonders of cannabis. You're on a swing. You just don't know where to go. Typically, kids with Dravet who die from like a prolonged seizure that kind of just like wipes out the brain. So they don't wake up, and 3 days later you do an MRI and their brain stem is fried, and you'll know they'll never breathe on their own, and you have to take them off life support. This happens way too much in our community. And then also there's something very common in epilepsy called sudden unexpected death in epilepsy, which is like SIDS for babies, but it's like epileptics who die in their sleep, but there's no sign of a seizure. So, we just hope for the best, really. I mean, there's not much you can do except cross your fingers before she goes to bed.
If you're happy and shout hooray! If you're happy and shout hooray! If you're happy and whatever you really want to shout. If you're happy and shout hooray!